Hey everybody, or should I say mom? I think she's the only one watching these videos. This week's video, we're going to be working on the dash in the Scout. It's all kind of mixed together. It's sooner than I'd like to be, but it's part of the roll cage. So I kind of have to do it as we're moving forward, and then I have to make sure that it fits the, clears the wipers and the aftermarket heating unit that I'm putting in. So I'm putting stuff on and off. You're not going to see a lot of that in this video, but you will see me just laying out and fabbing the dash panels and the framework onto the roll cage. It'll all get finish welded later. But so yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy this video. So here's my dash piece, or the lower rail. I went every 4 inches. I'm putting in a 1/4 inch hole. I figure for mounting stuff under the dash or even in front, I can mount to it later. And this way, once it's painted, it's already threaded. I blocked out where the steering column is, but these are just random 4-inch holes for later. I've mounted enough things in vehicles before to know that you never have enough holes. So I'm gonna get these put in. I'm not gonna bore you with drilling it, so we'll come back when that's done. Okay, I lied. I'm gonna let you watch me drill these holes. So gonna put 1/4 inch threads in there. So I think that's 3/16. We're gonna gamble on it. That's what I get for remembering. It's not 3/16, it's 13/64. So I probably should drill the face of it also for mounting the dash panels on. So before I weld that in, I will probably do that just for ease. I mean, obviously I can do it later, but I'm gonna do a little bit of math there, and maybe we can put those in and hopefully work with. So again, something I don't normally do is use the drill. I watch a lot of guys on the internet do this, so we're gonna see if we can do this without breaking off tap. Mine's shiny and new, so I'm sure we'll snap it right off. So that works. Didn't really like that very much at all, but it did work really well and really quick. So I guess weigh out the cost of a break in a tap versus your labor. Okay, I'm gonna lay this out probably a little bit weird, but my homemade press brake will, in theory, break 22 inches. So I'm gonna try to keep my dash panels under 22 inches for multiple reasons. Originally I was going to put a full piece in, put the stereo in it, but the stereo I have is kind of a one-off, like a marine stereo I'm planning on using, and I want to be able to put a double din in someday. So I'm going to put a center panel in here that can be removed and remodified without modifying the whole dash. So I'm going to lay this out on a 22-inch pattern. So I went ahead and backed that up to 21 inches. And that way I know I have plenty of space. Okay, I'm going to try the helmet that doesn't have the corrective lenses in it. I've been bouncing back and forth between using corrective lenses in my glasses or in my helmet and wearing my safety glasses, so let's try this. Get a little better light. Just gonna get this upper rail packed in. Welding helmet is a great indicator of when I need a haircut because the thing keeps trying to fall off every time I go to flip it down, so I am due. Rail tacked in place. We'll finish playing fit up on the bottom rail. Like I said, it's not very, I don't have the fitment completely right on it yet. But somewhere in there. I got a little sidetracked working without the camera, but I built the bracket that ties into the clutch and brake pedal, and it also ties into the base of the dash bar. So we just got that tacked in there for right now. Those bolts that are standing up will have nuts welded there so I can put bolts in from the bottom, because of course most of that's going to be blind once the dash is in. But all I did was mirror basically what connected to the old tin dash, just connected it to my roll cage. So, working on a little bit of CAD design here. I like the look of my dash panel inside this. With it on the outside, it just looks like I'm putting a piece of flat aluminum up there. This way I'll have color differentials. The roll cage will probably be black. The dash may end up being the same color as the Scout, so it'll be a nicer look. And I think I'm going to put a lip under the dash, just enough to bolt it so you get a little bit of deviation, and it's just enough that I don't think I have to break that. I think I can just bolt it in and we'll be okay with some 1/8 inch aluminum. So we'll see. At this point, I don't know. There will have to be a little bit of a break right here. I'm going to play with that probably in sheet metal before I screw up some really expensive aluminum. So we're just going to go from there, see what happens. So I'm just forming up some scrap aluminum here to try to get my configuration and how I want the piece to go in there. I still have this void, and I hadn't decided completely what I wanted to do with it, but I still have the factory screw holes. I have the factory dash bolt. I've been waffling really hard trying to make this decision, and just because I didn't want to cut up a perfectly good dash. But I think what I'm going to do is we're going to cut the factory dash off right here, and I'm going to build a filler piece out of this piece because it's got the spot for the factory bolt hole and the factory screw. So I think we're just going to hack this off, bite the bullet, ruin a piece of Americana, all for the sake of looking cool. So let's do it. So I'm just going to eyeball it, going to cut it off, and then I'll start to carve it down because I have no idea where it's going to fit. So we're just going to take the cutoff wheel and hack away at it. Cannot believe I just did that. It hurts inside a little bit, but let's try to build a filler piece. So I'm carving off more than I wanted. I'm going to try to roll this out a little bit and try to keep some length there and just see what happens. So here it is in its roughest form. We might put a little bit of flashing on the edge of that. I don't think I want to connect it to the roll cage because any kind of flex will just break that. It's sheet metal, but fills that void. Doesn't look too bad. We'll probably do the same thing on the other side once I get this thing turned around, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good. A little bit more forming and see what happens. So there is my left side. There's my right side. Did give me an idea because I wasn't sure how I was going to fill the gap on top between the dash and the windshield. I was going to build a piece, but I may be able to utilize the factory dash piece and cut it. So I might play with that a little bit and just see what that turns into. And we'll go from there. All right, guys, I slept on it on the dash last night. My plan was to go down to the iron place and have some 1/8" aluminum sheared out to start building my dash panels. But 1/8", well, let me back up. I'm not sure I want to go with aluminum, other than the ease of drilling the holes in it. You know, I don't know that I want a bare aluminum dash, so I'm going to paint it. So I have a bunch of 16 gauge that I had left over from doing the inner fenders. So I think I'm going to at least try to cut one of the panels out of 16 gauge, and we'll just see what that looks like, feels like. I can always replace it with aluminum later, but I'm gonna play around with some sheet metal, and we'll just see if it's too tinny. All right, here's my test dash piece. I cut out the little corner piece that needs to be folded like this. My brake in the shop doesn't, I don't think I'm gonna get that fine of a bite on it the way it's designed. It's not a finger brake. So we're just gonna go a little old school, put a little heat on it, bend. Like I said, don't need much of an angle. This is the one I did yesterday in aluminum diamond just for testing, and there's not much there, so. Haven't used a torch in a while, got to bleed the air out of the lines. Okay, going with a smaller tip, I want a little more control. I'm gonna end up with way too much heat, not directed where I want it, so. I'm not going to be able to get this hot enough without overheating this sheet metal, so. That's one reason why I cut this plate extra long. If I have to cut this end off and start over, I will. Yeah, it's not doing what I want without getting super hot. Probably gonna have to trim that. It's way too far back. Okay guys, this took way too long, but I got one side fitted here. I probably got 3 hours into this, and I'm still moderately happy with it, but it's slightly beveled back. There'll end up being a plate underneath the dash to bolt to, and then we'll bolt through here into the dash. You can see that fitment there. It's not bad. Not sure if I'm gonna need to put something behind it to keep from rattling, or a tab, but we're just going to play it by ear at first, see what happens. So I got a little carried away, guys, and the other evening I was not going to do this without filming it, but sometimes you just start doing things and it gets away from you. But so here's my dash layout. I'm pretty happy with it. I covered it with shelf paper. Gives you a good spot to draw with your Sharpie and your lines and everything, but that's what it's looking like. I need to measure out for, I'm going to put my ignition here. I need to measure out for the air conditioning, or the heat fan and defrost stuff, and then headlight switch. I have voltmeter here, maybe oil pressure there. I don't know, I have an hour meter, but I did roll this edge over. It will get trimmed off about 1 inch, and that'll stick in the dash. There'll be a cover here between the center of the dash. It'll make more sense. I'll pre-drill this. If I ever want to put any kind of stereo or anything in that panel, I'll have some bolt holes that I can utilize that are already there. Still waiting for the 3 3/8 hole saw. And I need my turn signal indicators before I drill those. I did make a mistake. Originally this was going to be the headlight switch. I don't know what I was thinking. I drilled it for the ignition switch, so now the ignition's on that side. Headlights will be on this side. Got the stereo and the switch panel cut out for the 6-pack of switches. Mounting the dash, or the glove box, in the panel. Coming along pretty good. Like I said, I used shelf paper. Just stuck it on there, was able to draw my layout and everything. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. We're wrapping up the dash here. You'll get to see it again when we do the wiring, and probably do some paint on it. When the roll cage comes out, we still have some finish welding to do. It'll be on the back side, and we'll probably go through installing all the gauges in it. But I just really want to thank everybody who's following along on this journey. It's been just over a year now with the channel, and we're just picking away at it and having a good time. Thank you for those of you that are subscribed and that comment on the videos, and just really appreciate you being here with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell all your friends. God bless and have a great week.